The lead story from Monday, April 22nd. Alphabet is back in court as the DOJ pushes to break up Google's search empire, proposing divestiture of Chrome and restrictions on Android and AI use. The trial, overseen by Judge Amit Mehta, is the latest in a series of legal battles over Google's dominance in online search and advertising. Google warns that forced remedies would hurt consumers, stifle innovation, and pose national security risk, while the government compares the case to past landmark antitrust actions. Welcome to episode 815. Well, this is a big move. We knew this was coming. And the question really will be, will the government have the strength to get this done? And will the DOJ throw caution to the wind, and will go for the jugular? These legal problems for Alphabet is definitely something that is ongoing. It's big, but I think they're right. I think they're absolutely right in the verdict. I think they're right in seeking this action. Uh, Search, which I well know is definitely one of those situations where Google has a stranglehold on things, and the assistant attorney general who heads the DOJ's antitrust division said Monday before opening statements that each generation has called for the DOJ to challenge a large company that has crushed competition. Now, in past decades, it was Standard Oil, AT&T, and now it's Google. I will say that the breakup of AT&T and what ended up resulting was good ultimately for consumers. There was a period of, I guess, for a better questions by consumers. So a breakup of Google Search, diversification of or divestiture of Google Chrome, something to that effect would probably be good for consumers in the long run. And now they want more than just what they're calling divestment of Google Chrome. The government wants the judge to force the company to demand Google from paying mobile device makers and browser companies for search distribution. It also wants to require that Google share its search query clicks and result data. It left the door open to a possible, again, divestiture of Google's Android operating system. So the only flexibility offered by the prosecutors concerns AI. They scaled back a proposal from the former administration that pushed Google to sell off its AI assets or bets. So we'll see. Now, the DOJ is in its opening statement accused Google of repeating the tactics that it's made in illegal search monopoly by buying up placements for its Gemini chatbot and on Android powered devices. So, not buying up, it's their device. So, we will see where all of this leads. So, that's the lead story for episode 815. Of course, I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all of our listeners, you're the heartbeat of this show. If you want to support GNC, head over to geeknesscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. Of course, we're lit and live. Don't just listen. Experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. You can interact absolutely in real time. So you can, of course, check out the full Geek News Central family at geeknewscentral.com. And just what happened, I had not opened up my browser to that site, which is a site you all need to go to. But check out the full lineup where you'll find all of our partner shows and tons of new content. Of course, stay in the loop. Follow or subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to sign up for a newsletter at Geek Central. And of course, you can get access to more insider scoops. Of course, you can join the conversation very, very easy at geeknews.chat or email me geeknews@gmail.com. You can hit me up on X at Geek News, and you can even catch me on Facebook. Of course, Geek News Central listeners, we want you to save money, and our good friends at GoDaddy are making that absolutely possible for you by saving. And savings of savings begins at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Let's start with a website or a podcast. My codes make it easy and affordable. Grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $6.99 a month. That's a full year of hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. Of course, if you're interested in WordPress, my favorite WordPress managed hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain, professional email, and again, an SSL certificate. Need a domain name, you can get yours for just $11.99. You can try out GoDaddy Website Builder as well. Get a free 30-day trial on personal, business, or Business Plus plans. Of course, I use all of the GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our codes. Click and save, or copy the code and save. You're backing independent team of creators. Again, share my codes or website link with friends and family, because every time you do and every time a code is used, it supports the GNC family. Thank you for keeping us online and going strong with our sponsor at GoDaddy. So I hope everyone's doing well. I tell you, it seems like, and even today, here we go. I've gotten everything's been working fantastic. Stream has been working good. And all of a sudden, it's just, I don't understand it. Camera locks up. And I have no idea why the camera locks up. And it's absolutely annoying to me to no end. It's beyond bizarre. Let's see if we can get it back. Yeah, it's back now. I don't get it. I've had, it seems I can never get this rig to the place I want it to be. I've worked and worked and worked and worked, and maybe just it's just too much. And I ran the camera in a test situation for hours and hours and hours yesterday. Those of you listening to the show don't care. It's just been driving me absolutely bonkers. There was no video for the last show because I looked over and I was frozen, and I think it's just maybe too many inputs. I don't know. I really don't. I'm at a loss at this point. But one thing is for sure: the instant the instant I start streaming, this thing just likes to roll over and act dead. It's beyond me. But I've got myself moving again. We'll see. We'll see if it stays up and continues. I've got to, after I get the show recorded today, I've got to go off and get the my visa extended, and then I need to basically things are I'm wrapping down here. About 18 days or so away from heading home, which will solve the studio problem. But yeah, look forward to being back in the original studio and not fighting OBS. And maybe OBS is the challenge. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, one or two too many USB connections, and you try to do too much processor load, which really isn't even that heavy, and then things just roll over and fall on their head. So I hope everyone's doing well. Let's go ahead and get into the stack here and see if I can make it through the show here. The FBI is. Oh, want to thank our insiders. We'll do that before we get too far into this. Daniel Amix, Lemay. I'm sorry, Daniel. $10 contribution. Michael Dell's World, $2. Christian Petrie, $3. Gary Ebels, $10. SJG Media LLC, $10. So everything from a sustaining to a warrior donation. Thank to each of you for your ongoing support of the podcast. Been looking at what's been going on with the streaming sats piece, and hopefully I've got that fixed. I don't know. We'll see. I see sats coming in the report, but one of the distribution points was not working right. So hopefully that there is fixed. We'll do some test boost to the show to make sure. All right, the FBI is not calling you to help recover from fraud. All right, just be aware. The FBI is not calling you, not calling your grandparent, not calling your parent, but scammers pretending to be from the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center have been reported more than 100 times, probably a million times. People from India doing impersonation scams. So scammers may contact fraud victims by phone, email, or social media. They offer to help target recovery of their lost money or claim they've already recovered it, and then ask for payment or personal information, at which points victim lose more money and or data to yet another bad actor. So they're calling people that they have stolen money from and say, hey, we got your money. We're going to help you get it back. The FBI is not calling you to help you recover from fraud. So if you've got a family member that has been defrauded, make sure you let them know they will not be called to recover money from fraud. Countries are shoring up their digital defense as global tensions rise in the threat of trade wars and everything else. Things are moving to cyber warfare. And we know that there's been attacks on municipal water plants that happened before, but we know that people are not happy. And when people are not happy, then these types of cyber warfare activities type of things ramp up. And vulnerabilities have grown as people and businesses are using connected devices to count steps, manage finance, operate facilities. Each network and connection is a potential target for a foreign government. And again, espionage is one motive. And of course, others is to control infrastructure or just get access to intellectual property, whatever it may be. So just be aware out there of what may be happening in the world, and just be advised. Airbnb's making a change. They're now going to show the full price of your stay by default. You'll no longer need to use a toggle to see the cost of your stay, including fees, which is good. This will include including the cleaning fees, any taxes, any special stuff that goes on with the reservation. So this is a smart move. And if you haven't used Airbnb lately or ever at all, you may not have known this, but they did. They hid the full price. They showed the daily rate, but they didn't show all the extra taxes and stuff. Then you went to check out, you're like, what is this? and have a big surprise here. Neuroscientists are racing to turn brainwaves into speech. So, researchers at universities across California and companies such as New York-based Precision Neuroscience are among those making headway towards generating natural speech through a combination of brain implants and artificial intelligence. Investment and attention have long been focused on implants that enable severely disabled people to operate computer keyboards and so forth. And some regain some of their uh, freedom back, but um, those that have the inability to speak, this is a sector that's being worked on uh, in a big way, and they're connecting a variety of probes into the brain, which is kind of scary in itself, and then taking those brain waves and converting that to speech. And it's getting better. The tonight basically they've trained uh, these systems on neural networks to speak up to 1,024 different words. Um, there's a bit of a delay, 100 to 200 millisecond gap in normal speech, and but they've been able to increase the median decoding speed to about 47 and a half words per minute. So again, as more people volunteer, test these systems, the better they will get over time. So good to see that this type of activity is happening to help those that are unable to speak. This world is fast changing. Multiple top CISA officials behind Secure by Design have resigned. In a statement to Cyberscoop, Acting Director Bridget Bean said that encouraging the private sector to build more secure products will continue to be a priority at the agency. But two top officials who worked with the private sector to manufacture secure products and technology are leaving the agency. Bob Lord and Laren Zabrick, senior advisors, were two of the chief architects behind CISA's Security by Design initiative and garnered voluntary commitments from major vendors. Both of them, in dueling LinkedIn posts, said they were departing the agency. Not specifically why, but the departure definitely does raise questions about the fate of Secure by Design. So, more shakeups, more changes at CISA. This is kind of a funny statement. Verizon Consumer CEO, I'm getting my water out here. Verizon Consumer CEO says net neutrality went literally nowhere. Now, think about that statement for a second. Now, when this individual made this statement, think about the attempts and the history of Verizon and others to aggressively lobby against net neutrality rules. He said, I don't know what net neutrality does. I still don't know what the problem we're trying to solve with net neutrality. Well, it was laid out very clearly. And it was about having an open, free internet, no bandwidth restrictions, all kinds of other things. Yet they fought against it, but don't understand what they were trying to solve. It's a very curious comment. It really is. All these years later, you would think they would know what this was in reference to. There's continued fallout from fake PDF converters. Fake PDF converters are spreading malware to steal users and worse. Um, we've known about this. We talked about this in a prior show. Um, Fake PDF converters are tricking users with cloned sites and fake captchas. Hackers use realistic design and social engineering to avoid detection. So, most software today, Google Docs will allow you to save something in a PDF or import from a doc and save as a PDF. You don't often need a special software program to change something into a PDF. Most save as functions in Word and Snagit and a whole bunch of other applications will allow you to save as a PDF, even as your printer. If you want to print a page, instead of selecting the printer option, you can select save as PDF. So lots of ways to convert things. Now, if you're trying to do this on your mobile device, um, again, be careful of what you're loading. And you do not need a file conversion program to do this. You really, really don't. It's handled. What applications are people having trouble converting PDFs? That's what I would like to know. You know, wherein lies the challenge, and why are people needing to download a PDF converter when so many applications have outputs that allow you to save as a PDF? And a little bit of a change of pace here in science news, and this is one that I kind of scratch my head on. Scientists are using fiber optics to spy on ice quakes. Yes, I said that correctly. Ice quakes deep inside a Swiss glacier. Now, in an environment where traditional seismic sensors often fail, researchers from ETH Zurich, led by Tom Hudson and Andreas Fichtner, installed a dense 2D fiber optic grid across a crevice field on, it's called Gorn Glacier, Switzerland's largest glacier. The goal captured elusive seismic signals of ice quakes caused by crevice formation. Now, why? Why are we studying this? What is the importance of this data? They say it could assist in modeling glacier behavior, quote unquote, in response to climate change, to predict the speed and scale of melt driven contributions to sea level rise. Okay. We know the glaciers are melting. Is this really valuable science? Sometimes I understand people have a very interesting study points, but um, yeah, I guess whatever floats your boat. To be honest with you, I guess people study paper airplanes too, but sometimes I just wonder, really, is this valid science? But someone's paying for it. The FTC is suing Uber, says the company charged for Uber One without consent. The regulatory claim that customers are wrongly promised savings when they sign up for Uber One, and the company makes it difficult to cancel the subscription. Well, we know that making it hard to cancel a subscription is now underneath the radar of the FTC. So the agency claims Uber violated FTC Act and Restore Online Shoppers Confidence Acts by providing misleading information about its Uber One subscription service, failing to provide a simple way for users to cancel, and charging them without their consent. They say Americans are getting tired of signing up for unwanted subscriptions that seem impossible to cancel. So the FTC is fighting back on behalf of the American people. I do say some of this stuff is a bit ridiculous. I got a few reoccurring charges that I've had to hunt and hunt and hunt to find the way to cancel. It's often been elusive. You don't want to get to the point where you call your credit card company, but sometimes they make it that difficult. Blue Sky is getting blue check marks and an official verification system. Similar to X. So again, Blue Sky is adopting an official verification system. The change is a notable shift for the platform, which previously registered the idea of centralized verification. Up to now, the companies relied on domain-based verification system, which allow users to change their handles to match domains that they are associated with, but that approach was criticized for being often overcomplicated. These critiques have only amplified as Blue Sky has grown in popularity. So under this new system, the company will proactively verify certain accounts and add prominent blue check marks to their profile. It's not clear what criteria Blue Sky will use for these badges. Sound like X? It sure does, doesn't it? Meta is using its AI detection tech to shuffle more young users into teen accounts. Lying about a birth year may not be enough to evade detection. So if this actually works, this will be a good thing. The company says it's taken steps to ensure that age detection tech is accurate. But in case it makes a mistake, users that the AI suspected being a teen have an option to change their settings and stick with adult content. Well, why don't we just ask for some sort of verification? If you say if the person says they're 18 and they're 16, and the system says, "Oh, I think you're 16," you can change it back to 18. What does that do? Makes all their work mute point. It really, really does. We know that Meta debuted teen accounts on Instagram last fall, and of course, they've expanded them to Facebook and Messenger. Now, this is a wild one. Archaeologists have uncovered 317 skeletons underneath the department store. So, archaeologists working, I can't speak this morning, working at two separate sites in Europe have made strikingly similar discoveries. A total of 317 skeletons were uncovered at both locations, one in Paris beneath the Monoprix store and other in England beneath what was once a Devon's department store. Turns out that one was a medieval hospital and one was a forgotten church. So, of course, you can understand why bodies may have been found underneath the location of a previous hospital. And what's interesting about how the bodies were laid out was rows and rows of humans carefully laid side by side and then layered, which is even more kind of interesting. And they basically used a repeated use of a burial grounds, deep, medium, and shallow. So, and of course, the same thing has happened in England near a church, which was more than likely very close to a cemetery, which, it was pretty common even in the United States. A lot of cemeteries were right next to churches. Google has released Gemini 2.5 Flash with hybrid reasoning and is boasting faster speeds. This new AI model, which it seems like we're getting a new AI model every week. It's called the hybrid reasoning. Developers can enable or disable the thinking process, maintaining speed while improving accuracy. The new model claims to be faster, and a Gemini 2.5 Flash also, quote unquote, outperforms competing AI models. That's, of course, always the headline. Mine's faster, mine's better, mine's faster, mine's better, mine's faster, mine's better. It just never ends. Again, I'm just putting a warning out here so that you can warn your loved ones. Scammers are exploiting Google and PayPal tools to create fake emails that pass security checks. Attackers are sending phishing emails that appear to be from no reply at google.com, presented as an urgent subpoena alert about law enforcement seeking information from the target's Google account. Again, scam, scam, scam. Google's aware of this issue and rolled out protections to shut down this avenue for abuse. In the meantime, we encourage users to adopt two-factor authentication and passkey, which provides strong protection against these kinds of phishing campaigns. Well, your login doesn't affect you getting an email from what appears to be Google or PayPal. Just be aware. Again, at the same time, Windows seems to be borking up updates. April's Windows 11 update is borking some PCs that run CrowdStrike. So after installing KB505, 5523, PCs with CrowdStrike Falcon sensor may be running into problems with their system. So again, a few bugs for business users may cause your computer to be unstable, stuff not even run, apps may crash. So when you have so many software packages out there across so many different operating systems, I'm just surprised this doesn't happen more and more. Samsung is on the hunt, looking for iPad technology for new automotive OLED screens. You know, this is one thing about computer screens in cars. They have to be much, much brighter. And OLED seems the way ahead. So we'll see what Samsung comes up with in this regard. A lot of you are taking your kids to see the Minecraft movie. The Minecraft movie has topped the box office. Of course, with a lack of movies out there right now, it doesn't come as a surprise. The fantasy adventure comedy film earned $6.52 million on its second Thursday, making it the third biggest second Thursday among April releases, with a strong 14-day total of $303.32 million. And this becomes the first film in 2025 to earn over $300 million. Of course, who knows how much it costs to create it. But anyway, just people are not, just seems like the movies are pretty boring. I went to look to go to a movie on Sunday, and the lineup was just horrible. It was horror films and Minecraft. That was it. Nothing really super interesting. NVIDIA took another hit today. NVIDIA stock did drop as Chinese Huawei is reportedly boosting AI chip production after export ban. So apparently Chinese tech giant Huawei is set to begin shipping advanced AI chips as soon as next month. Probably all stole from NVIDIA. And reportedly, Huawei's 910C chips are competitive with NVIDIA's H100 AI chips. We're 2 generations behind its latest Blackwell chips. So I guess this doesn't come as a surprise. They've had a little bit of time to reverse engineer the NVIDIA chips and, give them a little chance. They'll catch up here. If you use WebEx, make sure you update your version of WebEx. A Cisco WebEx security flaw could let hackers hijack your system via meeting invite. So again, make sure you update WebEx if you're using WebEx. The only people I meet with that use WebEx, I think, is Apple. I think Apple uses WebEx. I might be incorrect, but there's only one company I meet with ever that I have to use that particular meeting software. Apple was going to probably have a problem bringing back manufacturing to beat the tariffs. I just, this is not going to happen that quickly. They're calling it, there's a word for it. And I don't know who come up with this term, but what happens, and let me explain it here at first, according to this article. What happens is you start to build at a certain place, and then the plastic companies is built where near where you are, then the resistor company, and then the display company. So former Intel CEO Pat Glessinger said on Yahoo. And so what happens is these other elements of the supply chain start to aggregate around the core element of the supply chain. So they sediment into those locations, and when they become fixed, and that sediment or sedimentation takes decades to happen, and then to move things just doesn't happen very quickly. Well, I've been seeing articles here where Foxconn is just rolling into factories with forklifts, loading workstations up, putting them on trucks, and just moving stuff. So I'm not so sure that things can't move quickly. All you need is a building and people and the equipment. Now, if you're bringing stuff back to the US, that's going to take a little time. But if you're moving to another country, maybe not so, especially if you bring the team over to train the team. Uh, there might be a bit of a slowdown. Now, some stuff won't move as quick, aka the supporting stuff. So, but time will tell. Have y'all heard about this thing with this Blue Origin space flight being mocked? I guess people are just, I don't know what the problem is. I, they took a ride in a Blue Origin spacecraft. They did something that most people would consider dangerous. They went to a certain altitude, um, whatever the U.S. government classifies as space. They were there for a short period of time. There wasn't science done per se. It was, it was definitely a publicity stunt, but they were able to, be weightless. I think it's a lot of us would like to do that, but everything revolves around this door opening and how they weren't supposed to open it from the inside. So a little bit of a, you know, dramatics. I think we can all agree that even on the SpaceX vehicle, the astronauts have the capability of opening the door from the inside. It's probably not the way they want them to open. They want them to stay in their seats. They want to come in and get them. Whereas Blue Origin might be, obviously this is only takes a few minutes, but just a lot of people are, making a mockery of it. Um, so again, I just, it is what it is. I would have went. Would you? I think I would have went. So I guess I just don't understand all the mockery. Um, you know, would you strap yourself to a rocket? NASA's Curiosity finds a major clue that Mars was once uh, habitable. And this is not necessarily something new, but it is an ongoing clue. Carbonate material was found, and a large deposit of carbon locked away in carbonate minerals. And may sound a little dry, a little pun there at first, but and this is not the first time carbonate has been detected, but it was a very big deposit and has made the news headline here. So I think we can pretty much be sure that some distance past there was something significant and some form of life that was on Mars. Uh, us going there will be the only way to really figure out exactly the depth of that, or getting samples back from a region that may have had something living in it or on it. Big changes for Apple iPhone 17. What to expect. Devices are expected to have an A19 Pro 3 nanometer processor, include a 48 megapixel camera to replace the current 12 megapixel rear camera. You'll see the Apple C Series 5G modems. Of course, we know that there's going to be challenges with production in a sense that if they don't get the rare earth minerals they need to make components could slow things down. I think I'm okay with my current phone for a bit. There we go again. I froze again. How come? How come I froze? I don't get it. Yes, I'm froze. So we may have to stick with screenshots for the rest of the show. SpaceX has launched the 32nd resupply mission. So they sent an uncrewed Dragon cargo to the International Space Station. So nice job on that. And let's see if I can unplug this thing and plug it back in, if that will fix it. Maybe. I don't know. See if that'll do it. See if I get my image. So anyway, 32nd resupply mission. Okay, I am back. Now the question will be, will I be back on the other screen? Yeah, there we go. I don't know what's going on with this stupid thing. The cargo Dragon mission, dubbed commercial resupply, took 6,700 pounds to the ISS. A judge has strike down an Ohio law limiting kids' use of social media as unconstitutional. So, U.S. District Court Judge Algen Marbley decision came in a lawsuit filed by Net Choice, a trade group organization representing TikTok, Snapchat, Meta, and others. The organization's complaint argued that the law unconstitutionally impedes free speech and is overly broad and vague. So, not surprising there. So, people are being asked to not hoard old tech. And I've got old tech. I've got old laptops. I've got old cell phones. 37% of people, only 37% of people trade in their old devices, while a quarter sell them. So if you have old tech is cluttering your home, you might be sitting on some cash. So might be time to recycle. So there's trade-ins. We also give away, oftentimes we give stuff to family and friends. You can use a recycling service. You can sell. A lot of people throw stuff away. Probably not the best idea with batteries in. Donate to a charity. And again, 31% don't know what to do with them. And I think this is the case in where I live is what do I do with this stuff? So what do you do with your old tech? I'd love to hear. Love to hear from you on what you do with your old tech. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end here. Geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com at Geek News. Don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And also consider becoming an insider, geeknewscentral.com/insider. I'll be back with you on Thursday for another edition of the podcast. I want to thank you for being here and hanging out with me. It's been my pleasure to bring you the show. And I can see when I brought the camera back that the white balance is completely off and I'm washed out. But better to be moving than be a frozen image on the screen. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me. Take care. And we'll see you next time on the Geek News Central podcast. Take care. Bye-bye.